У нас залишилась хвилинка до початку, до 10-ї години.
We have a couple of minutes
перед
left
самим початком декілька
before
таких
we will
технічних моментів.
start. And before the beginning, I would like to say a couple of words. First of all, I would like to thank to all those who got connected, and we still are waiting for other participants to get connected.
Це так стінгл на початок нашого заходу. Ось, так, у нас була неспокійна ніч.
Yeah, there was a loud night, noisy night in Kiev, in Odessa, in Kharkiv, in many cities, and we all survived. And we would like to thank to the armed forces of Ukraine and to the air defense forces that we can meet here. So this is our annual Euratom event, which is dedicated to our educational research and innovative activities, and it allows us to stay in pace with our European colleagues. Why we expect this event to be special? Because we had invited our young researchers, and we have noticed that there are many young people who participate, who even contribute to the European nuclear meetings, and we decided to invite young people to participate in this our meeting too. Our European colleagues keep saying that they want to see more young faces at all the events, roundtables, workshops, conferences. That's why we felt that to keep pace with the European colleagues, we have maintain this trend and to invite more young people. So this is a specific feature. The next, the biggest issue for us as of now in Euratom is to strengthen our integration. Next year, we will see the open the launch of new protocols, and this will be also the preparatory year for us to maintain ties, to strengthen ties, to learn lessons from the previous projects, to look at the projects which are already in the pipeline, to analyze our experience of communication and cooperation with our foreign colleagues, to understand what we can offer at the European level, and what we can offer, what valuable offers we can make to the companies, to the universities, etc. Sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm a coordinator of the National Contact Point in the nuclear fission. I represent Kharkiv Technical Institute. I'm Sergei Pugach, and now I'm very pleased to give the floor to a representative of the National Technical Center, Physical and Technical Institute, who is the leader of our fusion section within Euratom. Yuri Kovton. Thank you, Sergei. I'm happy to participate in this event, and I'm happy to see many familiar faces. Yes, fusion, I think, is and will be the foundation of the further energy development and its rapid development of not only in the research centers but also in private companies is a sign of that. I believe that this event will be of interest for many people.
Дякуємо, Юрій.
Thank you,
Ми переходимо
Yuri.
до першої презентації.
And now I would like to invite the first speaker and represent the first presenter. Euratom project in Ukraine is aiming to support the nuclear community in Ukraine on their way to integration into the European nuclear sector. The project was launched in September 2024, and within the period of almost 18 months, we had got several achievements. Our objectives are a quality improvement of nuclear education and training program in Ukraine, that is to improve our courses, the curricula of those courses, to increase the involvement of young people into this sector, into education into this sector. Then reducing the gap between nuclear education and training program of Ukraine and nuclear sector needs. So we need to understand the differences between what is offered and what is needed. And one more goal is aiming integration of Ukrainian nuclear community into the European nuclear community, to know what activities are available for Ukrainian researchers, what are the ways to get integrated into those projects which are available. So during the reported period, we delivered 5 workshops related to interaction with young people, education. We also uphold a workshop in Brussels. It was rather fruitful discussion, and we had gained new contacts in medical physics. We have established good relations with nuclear medicine specialists, and allowed us to understand what is required in terms of new courses to keep in pace with Europe in that area. Also, we had organized 14 events for young nuclear generation events. Then we had organized 2 NCP trainings for UA stakeholders about rules about availability of the Horizon Europe project calls. Then we organized new recoverability program and launched it, and a survey of knowledge gaps between the nuclear sector needs and available courses was held. Also, in the 5 selected universities, earlier selected universities, we have launched 10 topics of nuclear education courses. We also have planned electronic system connection between Euratom and 5 selected universities plus 1 university in Lviv, which deals with nuclear education. Also, we have projected for the future with our European colleagues. These are 4 new topics which will be discussed. So next year, we plan to have 4 events, planning more closely about Euratom activities for 2026 and 2027. And Ukrainian universities and Ukrainian Nuclear Society have planned a start of events for young researchers. And what is important, we are thinking about further development of a mobility program, because we believe this is of primarily importance to keep our researchers connected very closely with our foreign colleagues. With this, I would like to give the floor to Mr. Vitaly Zhurenko, who is secretary of our mobility program, to say a couple of words of this mobility program, which is so important. Vitaly?
Сергій, я попрошу огортати презентацію.
Sergey, will you please show my presentation? Good morning, dear colleagues. I will try to speak briefly. The mobility program is based on the 3rd package, and our Physical and Technical Institute is the leading organization. All the information about mobility program could be found on our Euratom website, and all the procedures could be found, the description of all the procedures, etc. So I strongly advise to look at that. The aim of Euratom mobility grants is to help Ukrainian researchers and stakeholders of Euratom program to integrate their activity to the Euratom community through the support of participation at different Euratom events. Our general budget is around 31,000 euros for 2 years, and our program was launched on December 31st and will last till January 1st, July 31, 2026. The total amount of grants is limited, and that's why there is a limit for international trips and national trips for each trip. I would like to mention 2 big categories of our grantees, where these are students beginning with bachelor's and up to young students 35 years of age, and a big group of researchers and representatives of research and innovation communities. These are researchers and engineers, teaching staff of the universities, and managers of big nuclear centers. So what activities do we support? These are all the activities related to Euratom projects and activities. Then we support integration of the young generation into European initiatives, when at the stage of establishing contacts and planning new projects. And we also support trainings for young people. What are the criteria? According to Euratom programs, or we have the eligibility criteria, and here you see the supported disciplines.
Таку активність чи не фінансувати. Тобто це вже додаткова процедура. Крім того, має бути аплікант представником української ядерної спільноти.
An applicant should be a citizen of Ukraine, then compliant of the activity with the objectives of Euratom mobility grants. The activity proposed by an applicant should be in compliance with the supported disciplines, and any applicant can get grants, mobility grants twice. So the first step to get your grant is to go to our website and to study the eligibility criteria and this application process. So study, read mobility manual carefully, then prepare the requested documents, then register and fill an application form on the website, then get a confirmation letter from the committee, then the review happens, and when you are awarded, you carry out the activity and do reporting. What are the costs covered and what are the budget allowances? As I mentioned, 1,800 euros are available for EU mission. This is maximum amount we compensate for transportation fees, and this should be economy class only. Then we pay per dimes. In Ukraine, we give allowance for accommodation, like 300 hryvnia for Ukrainian trip, and for international trips, this is based on the actual accommodation and on the regulations established by Ukrainian government. This is a general calculation which should be done by an applicant on submitting a request for the funding. I mentioned about the Euratom Mobility Grant Committee. It includes 9 members from Euratom Consortium partners, secretary, and usually each application is voted in the committee, and based on the results of that voting, they are either accepted or rejected. Once a month, this committee comes together to review the applications, and every 6 months we make revisions of our program for 6 months. When it comes to reporting, we request separately for technical part of the report and financial part of the report. Financial part of the report is clear. You have to provide all the primary spending documents, while as for technical part, you have to inform about the event, provide a summary of the actions performed with the detailed overview of activities, then assess your results and suggest for the future. As of now, we have 15 applications which were supported out of 18 applications sent. 2 applications were withdrawn by the applicants themselves, and 18 applicants have already received funding from the program. Then on this slide, you see those organizations, those universities which submitted their applications. and now a split of applications between the categories of applicants. Four applicants were from students, six from young specialists. They applied for funding to attend conferences, and we have got 5 applications from experienced specialists in the nuclear field. I would like to emphasize that our project provides good opportunity to establish contacts, to find partners, and when I see a lot of young people, I of course here today, I encourage them to apply. But my also big call is to experienced specialists, because for you this is a good opportunity too. So I would like to remind you that the end of the program is July 31st, 2026, and hurry up to take the advantage. Thank you for your attention.
Дякую, Віталію. Якщо є
Thank you, Vitaly.
одно-дві питання по програмі
Um,
з боку аудиторії.
I'm happy to open Q&A session. It's a good opportunity to ask your questions at this very moment. Okay, no questions by now, maybe later. And now I would like to give the floor to Anna Butanka, who made a good use of this opportunity. She's a student of the Karazin University in Kharkiv, and she attended the event and is happy to share her experience. Will you share your slides, or shall I do that for you? I will try to share my presentation, to share my screen.
Вам зараз не видно повний екран, чи видно?
Do you see my full screen? Yes, we can see your full screen. Good afternoon, I'm Butanka Anna. I'm third-year student of the Karazin University from Physical and Technical faculty of the university, and today I would like to share my impressions and my experience of participating in the Euratom mobility program between May 12, 16. My fellow students and I attended medical center named after academicians Stezhenka and Kiev region. Our goal was expanding professional competencies in the field of medical physics, upgrade our level in that area, familiarize with innovative approaches to the treatment of oncological diseases. On this slide, you can see our program, our agenda for stay in the Stezhenka clinic. On day first, we were introduced to the clinic and were introduced to the theoretical foundations of the custom acceptance test and commissioning procedures for the linear accelerators. Linear accelerators are used by this clinic to treat patients. On the second day, we discussed theoretical overview and the methodology for performing daily, monthly, and annual quality assurance tests for the linear accelerators and cyberknife. Then we looked at how that is done in practice, and understood the specificity of magnet tomography, specifically in radiation therapy. On the third day, we joined the performing of daily QA a test on the linear accelerator, and then we learned about the methodology of radiotherapy treatment planning, and we had a case study of treatment planning for a brain tumor. And on the fourth day, we participated in performing daily QA on the cyber knife, and again we reviewed the treatment plan of verification process, and did a case study of treatment planning for complex irradiation of cervical lymph node tumors. And on the fifth day, we carried out theoretical and practical overview of electron beam therapy technique, and learned how to perform monthly QA. We even produced some details of that procedure, and we even tried to use the linear accelerator, which is used for treatment of patients. So it was quite practical, and we were very happy with this opportunity to do practically what we have learned in theory, and to keep hands on what could be done in this area of treatment. And we were very happy to use the cyber knife, which is the unique in Ukraine. So what were our results, or outcomes, better to say? We gained experience with the linear accelerators and the Lacta software, learned and worked through the process of receiving and testing linear accelerator. We learned the basics of treatment planning, and gained experience with Monaco software, gained and worked through the skills of conducting regular tests of linear accelerators and cyber knife, and considered the practical difference in the implementation of photon and electron irradiation. I think this was precious experience, and I think it will change our vision of medical physics and increase our willingness to develop this area in Ukraine. We are just seeing the work of these clinics from inside. We have seen the teamwork. We have understood what influences most the treatment process, and the last but not least, we have gained very important research tasks, because research links, research connections, because we have gained experience and had the possibility for networking with very professional Ukrainian physicists, and also we had seen how the clinic works with the patients, and we were very happy to get this training offline, so to say, not online, because we have to spend much of our training online, sorry, now, and this possibility to have it offline was very valuable. Was it difficult to apply for the mobility grant? I don't think it was very complicated. I think it was quite straightforward, quite clear how to apply, how to file our documents, etc. Thank you. We will be happy to see you among our nuclear medical physicists in the future. Now it's my pleasure to shift to the survey. I would like to carry out a survey about your familiarity with our activities and to understand who are present at this event. And I will kindly ask you to prepare your smartphones to scan the QR codes.
The first question, do you know about the Nurekab mobility program? And there are several options for answers. Yes, I've heard about it and I'm considering. Yes, I've heard, but I'm not considering. Yes, and we have submitted the application. Yes, we love submitting. We have submitted an application. No, I haven't heard about it, and no, I haven't heard about it, and I'm not interested.
Чекаємо ще хвилинку, поки
Okay, we
голосуємо.
will wait for another minute while you are voting. And I would say that now most right that yes, I heard about it, but I'm not considering the patient. The next one is 20%. It's, yes, I heard about it, and I'm not considering participation. 11%, and the three answers have 11% each. And also there is a question in chat while we are voting, in which language you can apply. Yes, you can apply in Ukrainian. Or if you want in English, we welcome. If you do it in English, you can do it in English, but you can do it in Ukrainian. If two persons from one company apply, could there be the situation when one person had the grant approved and another not? Yes, these are individual applications and this may happen. Okay, I believe that now we can sum up the results. We can say that yes, I heard most of our community knows about this program. There are 15% who have just heard, and I hope that this audience will pay attention to this program. And I invite you to be active this year, to be preparing for the future program of Euratom, so that we give the opportunity to our youth to communicate, because some projects come with our youth. And from the point of view of the national contact point, and that is what European Commission requires, they require that we give information to all our community and we inform about the results of research, and so that we become part of the research. But on the other hand, the Ministry of Science and Education funds the network of national contact points so that our researchers attract funding for joint research, and so that this funding comes not just from the budget of Ukraine, but so that the European Commission, European community gets interested in our research, and this way we will have a new source of funding and will be able to promote our work. I think that's it. Thank you. And now we'll proceed with our next presentation. I would like to give the floor to Professor of Kiev, Shevchenko National University, Mr. Igor Kadenko, who's the participant of our project NURICAB. He's the head of the chair of the nuclear physics. He's the laureate of the state prize in the sector of science and education. And his presentation will be about one of the results of our project, and that is about the knowledge gaps between education and industry needs in Ukraine, aligning academic programs with real-world industry needs. So, Professor, you're welcome.
Алло. Доброго ранку.
Good morning. In my presentation, I would like to talk about which results we have now from the point of view that we have implemented task 1.1 of our project. We were addressing the main problem, especially when it's about the nuclear sector. The nuclear sector is very, very important, and it is important to understand how the needs correspond with real situation in this sector. In other words, based on that, we would like to see the clear picture on what we do or what we need to do in the nearest future, so that our activity in sectoral universities leads to reduction of the difference between expectations of our stakeholders and our graduates. And we would like to see, in order to get this situation, what we did. We developed 7 types of questionnaires, and thanks to them, well, we sent them to different universities. One was on the activity of our universities, what they offer for the nuclear sector, what are the main directions of development, and how that corresponds to the expectations of stakeholders. And 6 other questionnaires were prepared for different stakeholders. And these were for Euratom. Also, one of the questionnaires was sent to the ministry and our regulator and other institutions where our graduates then work, also industrial and service entities. These are those which provide services at the nuclear market. We also send them to different fission research institutions, and same way we send these questionnaires to fusion research institutions and universities, and also we attracted oncology clinics to these questionnaires. They are not the main part of the nuclear market today, but they also have to be licensed, and they use the ionizing irradiation sources, and that is why we sent our questionnaires to them as well. Now, talking about how many questionnaires we developed, we included the number of different organizations, and the slide shows how many inquiries we made and how many replies we received. No, there's one nuance that from the ministry and our regulator, we received many more answers. And that was because we were trying to take into account different opinions from same departments, have a clearer picture. It was also very important to understand who are the main producers, the organizations which prepare personnel for nuclear energy sector. You see the number of graduates from nuclear-oriented education universities during the years 2017-2024. The National University Odessa Polytechnics has the biggest number of people, of graduates, then Kiev Sikorsky University, then Karazin, Lviv, and others. We also wanted to understand, well, one thing is to understand whether the level of education is very good, but quantitative indicators are also important. We were trying to get statistics from all our graduates, and we found out that there were 706 persons of graduates who found work in our sector. And what we realized that for the next 5 years, we will need 800 such graduates. In other words, about 160 graduates are needed to satisfy the needs of our sector. We also found information, and we found some information because we are in contact with some subdivisions of Euratom, and taking into account our plans, we can say that additionally, during the following years, when the new units will be constructed, we will need about 4,500 additional persons. And in average, Euratom will require about 1,000 graduates per every new unit. The next step was to understand who are the main organizations or which are the main universities that give the opportunities to their graduates to work in the nuclear sector. If we take NPPs, here there are two major institutions, Odessa Polytechnics and Kiev Polytechnical Institute. From them, the main graduates go there. If we take some other departments which are important, then the main
Одеська
contributors
політехніка,
Odessa
77
Polytechnic,
частини
Kiev National,
навчальних
Shevchenko University, and
Київський політехнічний інститут.
Kiev Polytechnical
Наступний крок
University.
полягав в
The
тому,
next
що
step was
ми
to
зрозуміли
understand
між розподіл наших випускників між
the
європейськими
distribution of our graduates between other stakeholders. Once we are talking about scientific research institutions, the ministry, our regulator, the state entities, the main Kiev Polytechnic Institute and Shevchenko University. Talking about industrial entities and service entities, the main leaders are Technical Institute and Shevchenko University. Also, we paid attention to oncology clinics, especially those which use nuclear methods and those who are developing medical physics as the component, most efficient component for treating oncology diseases. In this market, the main is Shevchenko University, but also thanks to the mobility program, in the future, we expect that Karazin University will make a big contribution in this labor market. And also we assessed research institutions, and here there is the work in research institutions is not as attractive as it used to be in the past, but nevertheless, talking about organization of science, the main ones are Karazin University and Shevchenko University, talking about technology and research
безпосередньо синтезу, то тут найбільш активним
on fission research institutions. The main one is Karazin University. Also, when we were analyzing the survey results, we tried to understand what is the most topical for Euratom. And you see the list has radioactive waste management, quality management, check-ins, radiation protection and dosimetry, structural engineering, and other. These are the institutions like ministries, like state regulatory authority, and we see what are the main needs to be foreseen for the educational institutions. And we prepared the list of main directions suggested for the selection by the stakeholders in the nuclear sector. And based on that, we developed that list for both fission and fusion, and taking into account what is related to the specific services provided in this market. We identified the main directions for development. And I mean that for our research institutions, we have to pay more attention to issues related to materials for future projects and for confinement of plasma and the other important aspects. We also collected information on what is realistically happening in the universities, and we saw some gaps because in our universities now there are no well-developed courses dedicated to small modular reactors or microreactors, and another gap is related with decommissioning and dismantling of the nuclear facilities which will be decommissioned. So basically, we managed to work so that we could understand what the gaps are, and we understand what should be the quality and of the education, and we also understand how the educational levels should be assessed, and we see that evaluation of educational quality is quite high in Euratom and scientific institutions, but in the future we will be able to enhance the standard of and the level of knowledge of our graduates. Also, what are the results of our survey? We were trying to enhance our cooperation between universities and nuclear sector stakeholders in the market, and the most actual for all of them are some annual events which allow stakeholders to be in close communication with the graduates. Also, the participation of our students in conferences, which will be organized by stakeholders, also conducting joint laboratory works at the entities of nuclear sector, and also diploma internship or for bachelor degrees. And we also identified the directions to develop in the future, and these are such issues as decommissioning and dismantling, development of small modular reactors, quality management, and checking, medical physics. That's a separate issue because it still doesn't correspond to the requirements all over the world, especially in European countries, and some issues of electronic engineering and application of computer codes for NPP safety assessment. So summing it up, I would like to say that based on all that, the gap has been identified between the number of potential graduates and the expected number of employees for fission applications within upcoming next 5 years. And that is why we are now very active in working with Euratom and with schools to guarantee the whole process of preparation of the applicant to graduation, so that these people, after graduating, go to work to nuclear sector, but not to other sectors. Besides, we identified the main educational directions which are important for our stakeholders and will require more flexibility in updating current educational programs. Also, it was a pleasure to see that the level of knowledge of our graduates, knowledge and skill levels of our graduates are acceptable in general, and we identified different directions of cooperation with our stakeholders. And a few words on scientific research institutions. We have students who would like to develop themselves
розвитку
as researchers, as scientists in both topics, fission and fusion. So we need to intensify the quality of their preparation. We do hope that we will gradually satisfy the needs of our stakeholders and our graduates will be of high level. Thank you.
Дякую, Ігор Миколаївичу.
Thank you.
Будь ласка, шановні колеги, якщо
Dear
є
colleagues,
питання,
if you
це
have some
експерти.
questions to Igor, please, Igor Mykolaevich.
Ігор Миколаївичу, а як ви вважаєте щодо
What do you
підвищення
think?
кваліфікації?
What about the courses of enhanced upgrading qualification?
Концепцію підвищення кваліфікації. Але це також важлива складова.
This is also an important component. Yes, that's very important component. The most active participant is Odessa Polytechnical University and Kyiv Polytechnical Institute. There are many courses which are offered for nuclear sector, and there are training programs for the, for example, management of an Euratom. There is a good base, and in the future, when we identify, when we get the applications for a year ahead, there are opportunities in Ukraine to upgrade your qualification. Let's move on. The next two presentations will be dedicated to two events. One is the event which takes place once every 2 years. The European Commission organizes it.
Фактично, Європейський Союз
And
це різні країни.
every year these are different countries. This year this was Poland, and another one
Саме молоді.
is dedicated to youth, and that's organized by European Nuclear
Молода
Community.
частина, да, цієї
And
організації.
these are the young
У Загребі і
part of this organization. That forum was in Zagreb, and the next two presentations will be about that. Why this is important? These are quite important events. Practically all the research and educational elite, and as well as industrial elite of the nuclear sector from Europe gets together there. And from the point of view of communication, of integration, it is very important. And before these presentations, I would like again to want you to ask the questions on how often we communicate with our colleagues abroad, how often do we physically participate in events abroad?
Ще хвилинку будемо голосувати, але
One more minute.
видно, що більше
We will
50%
vote, but now I see that
раз,
more than 50% do that once a year.
Тобто 6%
6%
фактично жодного разу.
practically never.
Ну і відповідно ми маємо 45%,
And we have
які більше
45%
разу,
who go more than
12%
once a
більше
year,
5 разів. Ось ці,
12%
які
more than
будуть більше 5 разів
5 times.
аплодувати, це наші
Those who go there more
лідери,
than 5 times, you can applaud them.
Це дуже
These are our
гарно.
engines in
Ну
this
і
integration.
останній
That's great.
висновок, ще
And
раз
the main
хочу сказати,
conclusion is, again, I would
безпосереднє
like to
спілкування
say
є
that
основною
direct communication is the main source of our
Потім, коли
partnership.
ми вже знаємо людей,
Then, when we know
гарно
people
знаємо, нам можна і дистанційно
well,
спілкуватися, але коли
we
ми будемо постійно
can communicate
хвилі, тих
online,
речей, які
but
відбуваються,
to
треба
be aware
безпосередньо
of what's
спілкуватися,
happening,
щоб
you
розуміти,
need to
які
communicate
ідеї,
directly,
які плани у кого є.
physically, so
Це
that
все
you
впливає на нашу
understand
роботу.
what are
Це
the
генерує в
plans
нас
that
ідеї,
other people
що ми
have.
можемо
This
запропонувати.
generates
Це
our
Тому
ideas,
треба їздити,
and this is
спілкуватися.
very good. So you
І
have
тому
to
ще раз
travel
закликаю
to
користуватися
communicate. So please
можливістю Нурікаба, поки
use the
така можливість
opportunities
є.
provided by
Хочу
Nurikab.
наголосити, що
And also, I would like to emphasize, maybe you know what CRDF is offering us, and that is in the amount of $2,500 for
щодо розвитку досліджень та інновацій.
the participation in conferences. Thank you, Olena. You can
І переходимо до наступної
close the
презентації.
voting. And
Наступна
next
презентація
presentation
стосується
is
саме конференції
This
Feasible Rad Waste
presentation which
2025.
we are going to have now will be about FISA Eurad Waste 2025 and SN-ETP forum
Поки я не бачу презентацію
that this
онлайн.
year. While we are waiting for the presentation to appear on our screens,
Ця конференція так само, як
I would like to say that the conference FISA Eurad Waste was held between May 12 and 16 in Poland, in Warsaw. That was organized, the main organizer was the NCG, which is the center, research center in Warsaw. It was, they offered quite interesting agenda. First day was mainly focused on young researchers and youth in nuclear sector. We had very interesting plenary sessions, high-level opening and closing sessions. We had 17 plenary sessions. The conference showcased around 100 Euratom projects. Also, the organizers provided 2 slides representing their project, and that allowed to understand the focus in the sector, in general, the trends. Also, we had visited the nuclear waste storage, attended the material science lab, had the possibility to look at the microstructures of materials, many useful equipment. So then agenda was very intensive and very efficient. There were 5 continents represented, people from more than 38 countries, the conference brought together 664 registered participants, and Ukraine was represented by 14 researchers, and of course, the leaders were Poland and France in representation at the conference because they are European leaders in nuclear sector. Then the split by research institutions, 157 150 representatives of academic community and students, 122 representatives from government and public sector, and more than 100 people from industry and corporate environment, entrepreneurial businesses, NGOs, and independent researchers. So that was a huge and useful event, many opportunities for networking. And it was easy to find people who work in the same area than you. As I have already mentioned, the first day was fully dedicated to young people, and it was a unique opportunity to meet with young people. And my colleague Katerina Pelugina may share more on that. Then the opening was a high level where a European commissioner made an introduction, Ministry of Industry from Poland, then Mario Grossi from IAEA, Chief of Cabinet of Mr. Jacek Belec, and from OECD. We discussed increasing capacity of nuclear power sector and what we have to do in this area. There were a lot of presentations, and you can see QR codes here, which contain links to specific presentations to watch all the videos. They are available on internet, and I think this might be of interest to you. I mean that you can pick up the topic which is of major interest to you, and then open a QR code. Then on the second day, we had focused sections. For example, how to reach, how to achieve net zero by 2050 in Europe, and then an overview of existing and future nuclear installations. For example, in France, in Czech Republic, many countries had shown their plans for the nuclear sector development. Then SMI development, SMR development was another emphasis, and actually this is a new trend in the market. We have we have big old reactors and SMR, which should be smart marketed reactors, not and big reactors are in the center of interest, which attract a lot of attention from the operators, while SMRs are not profitable yet, but but they are now in the center of interest, in the focus of those who look into the future of nuclear sector. And there is a European Alliance for SMR's development. They unite more than 150 members. They have shaped 8 technical groups, and you can find here a video fragment which discusses specifically the problems related to SMRs. So this is an introduction to encourage you to follow that QR codes and find more about SMRs as the most promising trend in the sector. So there is a strategy as to SMRs, but still there are many issues, many problem issues related to them. So I do not expect them to occupy the market fully in recent future, in immediate future. On the third day, much attention was given to communication with a community, with a general public, and to raising public awareness about nuclear sector, nuclear power sector. For example, in Italy, general public is quite prejudiced against development of nuclear power sector, and for them, this is a taboo, and because they believe this is not a green agency, they believe it to be dangerous. This only shows that we have to raise the public awareness, to demonstrate to broad public, to general people, that this is a safe source of energy. Then another big topic was known power supply application of nuclear reactors. We all understand that the emissions issue might be rather complicated, and we discussed solutions to non-electric energy demand, including hybrid energy systems. And also we discussed on the third day, we discussed about SMRs and non-electric energy demand related to SMRs. For example, for heating, for district heating in big cities, they do not require turbines, they do not require steam generators. So this is going to be absolutely new approach to non-electric energy use of nuclear power. Also, of course, we looked at AI and digital technologies, which could be applied in the sector. Then a special discussion was dedicated to intersectoral communication, for example, nuclear medicine, for example, nuclear physics, and discuss how innovations in nuclear biology, nuclear physics, how they work, and how both subsectors benefit from them. And the final stage of the conference was dedicated to developing recommendations, the achievements. We formulated our recommendations as to support from the European level, from political European level, we have heard an assurance from politicians that they are ready to support nuclear power sector and that they are ready to develop proper policies to foresee support for the sector, and that they are ready to develop cooperation at the European level, at the level of Euratom, and we suggested to strengthen cooperation at the platforms of UCTP, AGTP, when we are thinking about small reactors and the burial of nuclear waste. So without our Ukrainian membership in Euratom, we won't be able to establish full-fledged cooperation. We should be fully aware which areas in nuclear cooperation are of primary importance for us and which we want to develop and become members of the specific associations which work in each specific field. On day first, Anna Rostova was expected to make a presentation. She represented Eugene P. Prize. She was only one girl who applied for the competition and only one candidate from Ukraine. That's why I asked Anna to prepare this slide, because today she is in Poland presenting the conference, and so our INEN conference is held annually, and each year, annually, young students may apply for it. It's quite easy to apply for it for participation. Actually, this is a contest, a competition of master papers, and you should be either master, you should have either master degree or PhD degree to participate in this event. Here you see Anna's work, Anna's paper, Mechanisms of Thermomechanical Treatment Effect on Radiation Resistance, Erosion, and Mechanical Properties of Structural Materials. Actually, all the papers submitted for the contest were of high level, but actually hers was the only work based on not on pure modeling, but on a practical experiments and based on big fast reactors, and also on the thermonuclear installation ITEC. I also asked Anna to share her impressions and recommendations to Ukrainian participants, and she emphasized that it was quite interesting to present your research at the European to the European scientific community and receive feedback from leading experts and peers. They may push up your further development, and also you are able to compare your level and the level of your colleagues. Then this is a good opportunity to discover cutting-edge trends in nuclear research, to speak to your fellow researchers, fellow young researchers from other countries. Then it is important to represent Ukraine on the international stage. And in general, it is a good opportunity to expand your professional network and boost your career. All this suggests that each hour of your time spent on preparation, on applying for the conference, actually it takes, they were not wasted. Actually, it takes up to 2-3 days to apply for the participation in the conference, and maybe some time was spent on getting funding for your trip. But all the rest, all the 5 days that you were able to spend at the conference, this was a pure beneficial period of time for you. So summing up my review of the NN conference, annual NN conference, I am pleased to give the floor to Ms. Katerina Pelugina, who represents the European Network of Nuclear Education. Katerina has been working in the nuclear sector for more than 15 years now. She is one of the leaders in the NN network. She deals with trainings on physical protection. The floor is yours. Good afternoon, Sergey. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I'm happy with this opportunity to share with you my vision of the in an events, but from the other side, from the European side, because I stay here. Can you see my presentation?
Так, все добре видно, чутно.
Yes, thank you, Katerina. We can see your presentation.
Як Сергій вже мене представив, я
As Sergey mentioned, I'm representative of the European Nuclear Education Network, NN. I won't speak about NN itself, but I would like to speak in more detail about the event that was held in May this year. For those who are not familiar with NN, NN is a non-for-profit organization which is based in Brussels, in Belgium. We bring together more than 100 members from all over the world. These are universities, research centers, regulators, industrial partners who work in the nuclear sector, and our major task is to preserve and develop human capital for the nuclear sector. This is a map of our members. What does INN do? Actually, it facilitates communication, networking among our members, and also project and plan different training events. As for FISA Europe Waste 2025 conference, I've sent a bit more slides to Sergey than I am showing now, but I want to save time. You will see the full row of slides in our materials to this meeting. As to the Eurat waste, this is a conference established jointly with by a Polish center, ENS, and some other stakeholders. This is the whole system of measures organized for better involvement of youth into nuclear sector. We had started from plenary session, and at that plenary session we started thinking how to develop new generation of human capital in nuclear sector till 2050. European Nuclear Center Research Center SIA. So all those European centers, they emphasize that strong education in nuclear sector is a foundation for future human capital development. So we have to concentrate, have to focus on that. Then young people were able to participate in parallel activities, and then PhD event was also held in parallel with the workshops. Each activity was aiming to show different areas in the nuclear sector which are crucial for its functioning, media training, communication, PR, public relations, stakeholder engagement, networking, and the training was aimed at understanding how nuclear for climate could be communicated to policymakers, to decision makers at a high level, and to demonstrate that nuclear sector should be perceived and should be promoted as carbon-free and as environmental friendly. And I think that we have achieved that goal. Also, we provided information from career consultants how to build up a career in nuclear. For example, HR agencies from Netherlands, they explained how to develop good resumes, how to promote this, how to disseminate it. Another workshop was dedicated to simulations,
розмовляти з громадськістю щодо
and explained how to communicate with the broad public about disposal of nuclear waste and in general on nuclear sector and its role in power supplies. So all the participants of that workshop, of that event, they were able to see the comprehensive picture why nuclear sector is important. It is important for young people to understand that they are the future of the sector, which challenges they have to overcome, to match and to respond to become a part of this sector. And at the end of this INEN event here in Waste, young people produced their young generation youth vision. They emphasized that they see decarbonated future with nuclear sector, that it is not possible without quality education, digital instruments, and international cooperation, and that youth wishes to contribute to policy development and have an access to development of nuclear sector. That declaration was presented at the opening of the second day of the event. As one of the organizer of an PhD event and prize this year, it was the 19th event, and we have got 17 PhD finalists nominated by INEN members, and they presented their works at the INEN PhD event, FISA Europe Waste, and during a day, a prize was awarded to the best three candidates. The slide shows a split by participants from different countries. Ukraine was represented by just one participant at this final event. I would like to encourage our academic community to invite your students, your PhD students, doctorate students to join this event, to apply their PhDs for the contest. France presented the biggest number of participants because that's natural, because they have the biggest nuclear sector in Europe, and Ukrainian representative was only one female applicant, and this is a good result of our effort to maintain gender balance when we select works for the contest. This is split of the INEN PhD conference participants. This is the split of the same candidates by subsectors. How that what were the evaluation criteria? They were quite standard criteria: quality of the paper, clarity of the presentation, ability to communicate the message, then quality of the answers to the questions following the presentation, then ability to communicate the enthusiasm, and quality of the pictures and materials, active participation in the event. This was one more criteria. I will provide this presentation for dissemination.
Досить поважні у нас представники, в основному теж з університетів європейських, і ко-председатель, це був представник Європейської комісії Joint Research Center Мануель Мартін Рамос.
That was the representative of
Переможники
European Commission. There were three winners who presented different directions of research. And in general, I would put this way: many of European researchers are working on simulations. That is all. I took a little more time than I was given, but I'm ready to answer the questions also.
Дякую дуже, Катерина.
Thank you,
Я
Катерина.
думаю, що ми
I
підемо
think
далі, і, в
that
принципі,
we
якщо
will
будуть
proceed,
питання,
and if there are questions
наприкінці нашого
in the
заходу
end
ще
of our event,
поговорити, тому,
we
будь
will have
ласка,
time for
також
Q&A.
в чаті можете задавати
And
питання.
also you can
А
ask
наразі я знову
questions
хочу
in the
надати
chat,
слово
but
нашій
now I would
гості,
like to give the floor
а
to our
саме
youth,
Дар'ї Папіжук.
to Daria
Вона
Papizhuk.
прийняла участь
She
разом з
participated
Едуардом Мальчуком
together
в
with
заході
Eduardo Manchuk in the event,
Європейський ядерний захід
which is
для молоді,
European
European Nuclear
Nuclear
Forum, який
Young
був
Generation Forum,
у Загребі. І
which
Дар'я
took
є
place in Zagreb.
представницею
And Daria
НЕК
is the
«Енергоатом», а саме Рівненської
representative of
станції. Вона є
Energoatom.
першою
She's
жінкою
from
оператором ядерного
Rivne
відділення, і
NPP.
вона
She is the first
жінка, яка
woman
займається персоналою в
operator
Україні.
of
Ось Дар'я є
the
у нас одною з двох
plant.
перших таких
We have two
операторів.
women, and Daria is one of two, and
Також вона
the
брала
first
участь у
one.
міжнародних конференціях
She
та
also
форумах в
participated
складі
in
європейської
international
команди на Європейському
conferences and
конгресі Innovation
fora
for Nuclear Europe.
in
І має вже досвід
Innovation for
роботи
Nuclear
на
Europe
спілкуванні із молоддю і представленням
conference, and
нашої
she
галузі
has
на міжнародному рівні.
a
Тому, будь
big
ласка, Дар'я,
experience
вам
of
слово.
communicating to youth.
Доброго дня
So,
всім.
Daria, the floor is
Дякую
yours.
за таке представлення.
Good afternoon. Thank you for introducing me.
Ну, як ви вже знаєте, мене звати
As you
Дар'я
know,
Папіжук.
I'm Daria
Я
Papizhuk.
оператор реакторного відділення
I am the
Рівненської
operator
АЕС філії
of
ПП
reactor
РІН-ЕС НТНЕК
department of
«Енергоатом».
Rivne
Також я
NPP.
є членом
I
організації
am
молоді
also
спільно
the
ЄС
member
та
of
громадської
organization
організації Українське ядерне
of
товариство. Також
nuclear,
хочу представити
Ukrainian nuclear
Едуарда
young
Мальчука, який також повинен бути тут зараз з нами.
generation
Через велику
community.
завантаженість
I would
роботи
also
працівник
like
ситуацію
to
змушений виконувати
introduce
свої
Eduardo
професійні
Malchuk,
обов'язки.
who
Едуард
had
також
to be
працює
with us,
оператором
but now
реакторного
he's
відділення
working. He's
Рівненської
also
АЕС,
the
а
operator
також
of
він нещодавно
reactor
очолив
department of
молодіжну
Rivne
секцію
NPP,
Українського
and
ядерного
he
товариства.
is now the
Едуард,
head of
перепрошую за
the
відсутність та довірив представити
Ukrainian
нашу доповідь мені, яка присвячена молодому
Nuclear
поколінню українських
Society,
фахівців в ядерній
the
галузі, та,
section for
зокрема,
young
міжнародній співпраці молоді.
generation. And I will be talking
Хотіла би
about
розказати
the
трошечки про
youth
сенс
organization and
молоді
the
у світі
international
на АЕС.
cooperation. I would
Що це
like to
таке? Це
say a few words
молодіжна
about
структура при
the youth
торгівницькій
organization of the
організації
trade
Рівненської
union
АЕС,
of
яка об'єднує
Rivne
працівників
NPP.
віком
It
до
unites
25
the
років.
workers
Її метою
up
є
to
підтримка та
35
розвиток
years.
молоді в атомній
Its
галузі.
objective is to
Основними
support and
напрямками
develop the youth
діяльності є
in the
організація
nuclear
конференцій,
sector. The
конкурсів,
main
наукових доповідей, професійної
sections
майстерності,
of activities,
проведення спортивно-масових
participation
подій,
in
різні
conferences,
веломарафони, крос-триатлони, забіги
different sports
і
events,
благодійні акції на підтримку
and
ЗСУ.
charity
Також
events to support
профорієнтаційні заходи для студентів наших
Ukrainian
вищих
armed
навчальних закладів
forces.
і залучення молоді
And
до
also
профспілкового
we
життя.
are
Організація молоді
attracting
це
youth
активна,
to trade
активний осередок
union
молоді РЕС, що лише
life.
підтримує розвиток
Our
фахових,
youth
спортивних
are
навичок,
very
а об'єднує
active.
молодь навколо
They
важливих соціальних,
unite the
наукових
youth
та волонтерських
around very
ініціатив у сфері
important
атомної
social
енергетики.
and volunteer initiatives in this sector, in
Крім
the
того,
sphere
що
of
ми
nuclear
представляємо
sector.
компанію «Енергоатом» як
Besides
найбільший виробник
representing
електроенергії в Україні,
Energoatom
ми є
company,
активними членами
we
української
are
молодіжної
active
спільноти в
members
атомній
of
галузі. Ми є
Ukrainian
членами
youth
найбільшої
community
професійної
nuclear
громадської
sector. We are
організації
the
Українського
members of the
ядерного
biggest
товариства.
professional organization
Головною
of
метою
Ukrainian
Українського ядерного
nuclear
товариства є це
society. The
об'єднати
main
всіх,
objective
хто
of it
працює
is
чи
to
навчається в
unite
сфері ядерної
everyone who
енергетики
works or
для
studies in
розвитку
the
науки
nuclear
і техніки,
sector,
поширення знань,
and to
формування
disseminate
довіри
knowledge,
до
to
галузі і підтримки
create trust
інтересів
to the
наших
sector,
членів.
and to support the interests of our
Ми є представниками
members.
одного із
We are the
найактивніших
representatives
осередків
of one
вокаліату.
of the
Це
most
відокремленого
active
підрозділу в Рівненській області.
parts
В нашому
of
осередку
Energoatom.
понад 300
This
членів. Це
is
і
the
працівники РЕС, і
subdivision
працівники
in
адміністрації міста Супутника
Rivne
Бариша,
NPP, more than
представники
300
громадськості
individual
міста,
members. We
освітяни.
have more than
Приблизно
50% of them
половиною
are
складу
young
становить молодь.
generation,
Це, зокрема, молоді
and
фахівці
these are
галузі
young
нашої.
specialists who work at our
Спільно
NPP.
ми реалізуємо велику кількість
Together
проєктів
we
в нашому
organize
місті,
many
регіонах
different
України
projects in
для вирішення
our
актуальних
city, in
завдань
our region of
розвитку
Ukraine,
даної галузі
and
і
that is
у
to
сфері
address
роботи з молоддю,
important
з
tasks
громадськістю.
in the
І
sphere
ведемо
of work
активну
with youth,
інформаційно-просвітницьку,
and we
профорієнтаційну
also
діяльність для
do a
вирішення
lot
питань
for
підготовки спеціалістів для ядерної енергетики.
train
Багато проєктів.
specialists in the
Це і
nuclear,
наукові
for the
проєкти,
nuclear
і
sector. We have some
конференції,
scientific
конкурси та
projects,
інтелектуальні змагання і не лише для рівня.
conferences, roundtables,
Творчі, спортивні,
webinars,
молодіжні заходи.
educational events for
Тобто все,
young
де ми
people and
можемо
students,
допомогти
career guidance
людям
work,
познайомитися і
as well
розвивати
as
себе в
scientific
нашій
and
галузі.
publishing activities.
Одним із провідних
One of
напрямків
the
як
leading
Укрята, так і Енергоатому є
departments
залучення
of the
молодих
leading
спеціалістів до
directions is
наукової та
attracting or
інноваційної
engaging
діяльності
young
з ядерної
professionals in
технології.
research and
Одним
innovation
із
activities in
цікавих
the
проєктів
field
в
of
цій
nuclear
сфері є
technologies.
конкурс
One of
наукових
the
проєктів в сфері
interesting
ядерної
projects
науки,
is the competition
атомної
of
енергетики
projects
і
in the field of
промисловості від
nuclear science,
Укрята та
nuclear power,
Енергоатома,
and
який називається
industry.
«Атомні
That
інноватори».
is from
В
organized
такому
by
конкурсі в
Energoatom, and that's
2024
called
році взяв
the
участь
nuclear
Euratom
innovators.
з власним
Eduardo
проєктом,
Menchuk
який
participated
називається
in it
«Підготовка і підвищення
with his
ефективності
project,
ремонтних
which
і
was
експлуатаційних
on
робіт за допомогою використання атомного
preparing
регулювання».
and
Хоча проект Едуарда посів
enhancing
друге
the
місце, Українським
efficiency
ядерним
of
товариством йому було запропоновано
the
представити
works
країну,
with the
взяти
assistance
участь
of
у
3D
фінальній частині конкурсу
modeling. He
Innovation for
was the second
Europe
one, but he received the
того ж року
invitation to
під час міжнародного
participate
форуму стійкі
in the
ядерні інновації,
international forum
який проходив
Sustainable
в місті
Nuclear
Софія в
Innovations,
Болгарії.
which was held in Sofia, Bulgaria.
Так, конкурс
The
IFN Europe, що
competition
проводиться за
IFAN
спільнотою
Europe
молоді європейського
is
товариства European
organized by
Nuclear
the youth
Society, Young Generation Network та
European
Європейським
Nuclear
ядерним
Society Young
товариством
Generation
European Nuclear
Network
Society.
and the European
Його
Nuclear
метою є
Society.
заохочення молодих фахівців
They
галузі
are
до
trying
створення
to
інноваційних
encourage
ядерних технологій,
youth to
розробок,
create
досліджень, а
innovations,
також різних
research,
стартапів для
and
галузі,
different
створених командами
startups
фахівців
for the
різних
sector
галузей. За сприяння Укрята
with
Едуард
the
виступив в рамках цього
assistance
конкурсу, і
of
презентація його
Ukarat,
зацікавила аудиторію того конкурсу, представників
Vladislav
європейських наукових організацій
participated
та
in this
підприємств ядерної
competition,
галузі Європи.
and
Та
his
отримав
work
гідні пропозиції щодо
was of
можливого
interest for
застосування розробки.
many, and
Слід
he
зазначити,
received the
що
offer
українська
to
молодь, попри усі складнощі, активно
have it
долучається до участі
used
міжнародних,
in
зокрема
development.
європейських
Our
заходів та
youth also
ініціатив.
participates in
Зокрема,
different
беруть участь у
international and
форумах і
European
конференціях.
events. They
Українське
participate
ядерне
in fora
товариство
and conferences.
підтримало
The Ukrainian
ініціативу Nuclear for
Nuclear
Life
Society
та спільно з
supported the
Європейським ядерним
initiative
товариством
of
представники
Nuclear
ЄД
for
долучаються
Climate,
до
and
активної роз'яснювальної та
we
інформаційної
joined
роботи
the active
щодо
information
важливого значення атомної
campaigns,
енергетики як ефективного та
and
безпечного джерела
we
цілком
talk
енергії.
about nuclear energy is very
Молодих
efficient
представника
source of
Укрята увійшли
energy.
до
Two young
керівних органів Європейського ядерного товариства.
representatives
Виконавчого
became
секретаря Данила Лавренова
the
обрано до складу ради директорів ЄНС,
members of the
членом ПГУ
ENS.
Укрят в Харкові
Danilo
Філіп Кравцова
Lavrinov
до
was
складу Вищої вченої ради Європейського
elected
ядерного товариства.
as a member of the ENS board of directors.
Дуже важливим кроком для
An
розвитку
important step for
міжнародної
the
діяльності,
development of
зокрема і молодіжної
international
спільноти,
activities
стало те, що у вересні
is
2025 року
that
і
in
Енергоатом, і Укрят разом
September
із провідними профільними закладами
2024,
вищої освіти та
Energoatom
науковими
and
центрами України долучилися до створення міжнародного
and
фінансового
others,
нетворк. Метою проєкту
we
«Нерегат» є реалізація
joined
заходів
their
з
efforts
підтримки
in
ядерної освіти в
creating the
Україні та
consortium
інтеграції української
Nurekab,
наукової спільноти
which
до програми досліджень і навчання
integrates
Euratom.
Ukrainian
Вже відбулася
community
кілька
to the
міжнародних
programs.
проєктів
There were several
реалізованих
interesting
Енергоатом та
events
Укрят.
implemented by
Організації
Ukaryat and
долучилися до важливого опитування
our
щодо
organizations.
відповідності
They
рівня освіти
joined
молодих фахівців та програм університетів до очікувань
survey
роботодавців. І ця робота
as to
продовжується.
expectations
Ми ж
of
хочемо
the
розповісти про ще одну цікаву
stakeholders, and I would
можливість, яку
like
отримала
to
українська
tell
молодь
you
завдяки
about another very
проєкту
interesting event that we received thanks for Euratom project, and that's initiative support directed towards support of the Ukrainian researchers.
Ця програма
This
передбачає
program
надання
provides
для участі в європейських
provides grants
заходах у
to
сфері
participate
ядерних
in
досліджень,
European
а
events
також
in
у
the
подіях, що
sphere of
проводяться в
nuclear
межах
research
діючих проєктів
and
Євроатом.
in the events of Euratom.
Скористатися цією програмою
You can,
пощастило і нам з Едуардом.
we, myself and Eduard, we also used this
відбірковий
grant.
етап європейського конкурсу
There was
Innovation for Nuclear.
now
За
there
подібним
is
фіналом наша команда РЕС змагалася із двома
the,
іншими
the,
командами з
there
відокремленого
was
підрозділу
the
Atom Reactor Engineering. У підсумку
competition in the
з
result
проєкту
of which
присвяченим атомно-вугільневій
we
когенерації.
win, and that
Частина
was
команди отримала
dedicated to
покриття
the
подорожі від РЕАК
nuclear
в Ріад.
generation.
Ми ж з Едуардом, знаючи про успішний досвід нашого
Myself and
колеги, вирішили
Eduard,
скористатися
we
програмою
decided to
мобільності
use the
Нурикаб.
program
Слід
of
зазначити,
mobility
що з
Nurekab,
роботи особливих
of Nurekab,
центру
and I would
викликів
like
слід
to
було
say
просто
that it
правильно
was
заповнити заявку
not
і надати
difficult.
всі необхідні
The only
документи для
thing was
отримання
you
гранту.
had to correctly fill in the
Детальна
application form
інформація
and
щодо
provide
умов
all the
участі
documents
і вимог до
needed.
кандидатів та форма заявки
The
доступні на сторінці
information on that
програми.
is available on their webpage.
Ну і тепер коротенько
And
розповім
now
про
a few
нашу
words about
подорож на
our
конкурс Innovation for
trip
Nuclear
to this
Europe, який відбувся
competition,
під час
Innovation
Європейського
for
молодіжного
Nuclear
форуму EGF у червні
Europe.
2025
It was
року в місті
in
Загребі, Хорватія.
Zagreb this
Це
year,
захід, що триває
and this
протягом
is the
тижня в
event
одному з
which lasts
європейських
for
міст
1
та
week in
об'єднує
one of
молодь
the
з країн, що
European
мають
cities and
ядерну програму
unites
або
youth from
розвивають
the
ядерну галузь.
countries which
Це, по суті,
are
багатоденна
developing
конференція, під час
nuclear
якої
sector.
обговорюються
This is
найважливіші
the
теми для ядерної
conference
галузі
where
сьогодення і
very
майбутнього.
important topics for
Серед них
nuclear
це
sector
сучасні
are
ядерні
discussed
технології та
among
їх
them.
застосування,
Modern
розвиток
nuclear
модульних
technologies and
реакторів,
their application,
продовження
development
роботи
of
діючих
modular
станцій і
reactors,
перспективи нових рішень.
extending the
Серед
life
спікерів як
of the
там як і молодь, так
operating
і досвідчені
NPPs.
фахівці.
There were young
EGF – це
speakers
провідний
and
європейський
experienced
форум
speakers
молодих фахівців
there.
ядерної галузі. Він
NEGF
об'єднує як молодих інженерів,
unites both
дослідників,
young
представників і
engineers and
операторів РЕС,
researchers and
фахівців з ядерної
representatives of
безпеки,
NPP
представників регуляторів,
operators,
фахівців з нових ядерних
representatives of
технологій,
regulators,
експертів з діджиталізації
experts,
ядерного сектору, студентів і аспірантів.
students, and postgraduate
EGF
students.
2025 року – це
NEGF
черговий
of
дев'ятий вже за рахунком
2025,
міжнародна
that is
зустріч
the
форуму,
ninth
яка
international
вперше відбулася в
meeting,
Хорватії.
which for the
Основними
first time
напрямками EGF
happened
2025 року
took
були
place in
інноваційні ядерні
Croatia.
рішення, будівництво
The
нових ядерних енергоблоків,
topics
передові
discussed
ядерні
were
палива,
construction of
зняття з
new
експлуатації та
nuclear
поводження з радіоактивними
units,
відходами,
decommissioning
цифровізація
and
ядерної галузі та індустрії
nuclear waste
4.0,
management,
термоядерний синтез, комунікація з
digitalization,
громадськістю та освіта,
fusion,
жінки в
communication with
ядерній
public
енергетиці
and
та
education,
лідерські та
women
управлінські
in
навички
nuclear
для
sector,
молоді.
and
Також в
managerial
рамках цього
skills for
форуму
youth.
всім учасникам було запропоновано
Also,
прийняти
all
участь в одному
participants
із
were
турів.
offered to
Це
participate in
або
one of the
національного
tours.
парку Плітвіцькі
That
озера,
was
або
either
до
to the
Інституту
National
ядерних
Park
технологій ІНТ,
Plitvice Lakes or
або
to the
просто
Institute
екскурсія
of
містом
Nuclear
Загреб,
Technologies or
або
just
екскурсія
the
на атомну станцію в Загребі.
sightseeing
Форум
to
EGF – це
NPP.
важливий
The
майданчик для просування
NEGF
українських
forum
інноваційних рішень
is
в
very
ядерній
important
енергетиці
for
та для
promoting Ukrainian
налагодження нових міжнародних
new
контактів.
solutions and for
Участь української
establishing
команди
new
дозволяє інтегрувати
international
українських молодих
contacts.
фахівців
Participation
в
of
європейську
Ukrainian
ядерну
team
молодіжну спільноту
allows to
та
integrate
підсилити
our
імідж
youth into
України як
European
прогресивної ядерної
scientific
країни, що
community and
впроваджує нові
enhance the
технології
image
навіть
of
в
Ukraine
умовах
as the
війни.
country that implements new
Ну і
technologies even
представив
in
участь
times of
в
war.
конкурсі інноваторів
And
FN Europe.
um,
Цього року конкурс
and this year, the
зібрав команди
competition,
з 11 країн.
in the
Тематика
competition,
проєктів
the
була
teams of
надзвичайно
11 countries
різноманітною.
participated.
Від
The
нових
topics of the
технологій
projects were
поводження з
very
реактивними
different from new
відходами та рішень для
technologies of waste
дезактивації,
management
інноваційних систем навчання для
to
персоналу і
innovation
застосування
systems of
віртуальної та доповненої
education
реальності до
using
концепції
virtual
розвитку
and
паливних ядерних реакторів,
virtual
нових паливних циклів та
reality, the
застосування
new
водневих технологій
fuel
поєднання з ядерною
cycles,
енергетикою.
and the use of different
Українська
technologies.
команда вперше брала участь у
Ukrainian team
конкурсі в рамках
participated in this
делегації
competition for
українського
the
ядерного
first
товариства
time
і представила проєкт на
and
тему інтеграції
presented the
зеленого
project
гідрогену АЕС,
on integration
техніко-економічна модель
of
та сценарій використання
hydrogen
електролізу для створення
in
низьковуглецевого
the
водневого хабу на базі
NPP
Рівненської АЕС.
and
Проєкт був
creating
присвячений
the
розробці концепції водневого
nuclear
виробництва
hub at
з
Rivne
використанням
NPP.
надлишкової енергії АЕС, можливостям гнучкої роботи енергоблоку в режимі
We
спільного
were
виробництва електроенергії та води,
presenting
а
our
також
project,
перспективам подальшої
and
інтеграції
it was
синтезу
on
аміаку
prospects
для
of
промислового використання та
integration and
експорту.
synthesis of
Формат
ammonia
конкурсу
for
передбачав
industrial
відкриті
use
клінічні
and
презентації
export.
команд,
The
сесію
teams
питань
made
і відповідей з
presentations,
міжнародним
there were
експертним
the
журі,
Q&A
а також
sessions,
нетворкінг
and
з
also
учасниками
there was
форуму
a lot of
EGF.
networking with
Для
the
української
participants
команди
of
це
the
був
forum.
дуже
For
важливий досвід
Ukrainian team,
представлення
it was
наших
a very
інновацій на
important
європейському рівні
experience when
та
we were
створення нових
introducing
контактів
our
для подальшої
innovations
співпраці у сфері
in
розвитку
Europe,
водневих
in Europe.
технологій та діджиталізації ядерної
And
енергетики. Хочу сказати, що
I would
ми
like to
щиро
say
вдячні,
that we are
дуже вдячні проєкту
we
Нурекаб та її
appreciate
організаторам за можливість
and we are
представити
grateful to
Україну,
Nurekab project
взяти
for this
участь в цих
opportunity to
цікавих і важливих
represent
заходах
Ukraine and to
європейської
participate in
молодіжної
such
спільноти.
interesting and important
І я
events of
тут бачила,
European
що до
nuclear
нас зміг
youth.
долучитися Едуард
I
Томальчук, і
see
він хотів
that
би сказати ще
Eduardo Milchuk
кілька слів від
joined
себе.
us, and he would like to
Так,
say
я хочу
a few words.
сказати пару слів.
I would
Єдине,
like to
що я
say a
вважаю,
couple of words. I
шановне,
believe
не потрібно
that the
боятися
youth
приймати участь
shouldn't
у
be
таких
afraid to
заходах,
participate in
тому що
such
ви
events
нічим не
because
гірші від
we are not worse
молоді, яка
than the
вже
youth
приймала участь в цих
which
конкурсах. Я
already
просто хочу, щоб ви
participated
подолали
in
і
such
перебороли цей
competitions.
бар'єр і
I would
вийшли на
like us
міжнародну арену і
to
показали, що
uh,
ми не тільки
go
рівні, ми
to
всі
the
можемо бути попереду в
international
конкурсі.
arena
І
to
я також
show that
хочу
we are quite
приватно
advanced.
також
And
хочу
I
сказати про те, що на
would like to
самому
say that
форумі
at the
були
forum
представники
itself,
як
there were
і Енергоатома,
representatives
так
of
і наші
Energatom,
колеги, які працюють
our
на даний
colleagues
час
who
вже за
work
кордоном, і вони
abroad,
отримали дуже велику
and
підтримку. І
we
говорили вони,
received a
що
lot of
навпаки,
support
беріть,
from them,
продовжуйте, беріть,
and
приймайте
we were
участь далі,
saying
беріть,
that
займайтеся тим, чим ви займаєтеся, бо ви маєте
participate
робити
in
це, що
such
показати, що
events in the
Україна
future and
є
do what
на
you do
міжнародній
because you
арені.
show that
Я вибачусь,
Ukraine is
бо не можу
present
зараз
at the
говорити,
international
хвилюю вас
arena.
за
I'm sorry I
безпосередньо своє
cannot
робоче
be
місце,
present.
тому
I
я
will go
вважаю так,
back to
що
my
ми не повинні
workplace. I
зупинятися, ми
believe
повинні йти
that we
вперед і
shouldn't
приймати
stop.
участь
We
у таких
should go
конкурсах.
ahead and participate
Дякуємо
in
вам
such
разом з Дар'єю
competition.
за увагу.
Thank you together with
Тому
Maria for your
якось так.
attention.
Дякуємо дуже.
Thank you.
Думаю, що можна оплесками привітати наших
I believe that we can applaud to our colleagues.
за вашу цікаву доповідь. Дуже насправді вам дякуємо за
Thank you
вашу
for your
безпосередню
interesting
роботу як оператора
presentation. Thank you for your work as operators at
надаєте можливість
NPTs,
тут працювати,
because
жити
you
повноцінно,
allow
так
us to
само в
work and
таких
live
складних
full
умовах. Ну
life
і
in
за вашу
such
активність,
difficult
соціальну,
conditions,
наукову
and for
активність.
your
Це супер.
activities, social
Дякую
and
вам, що ви сьогодні до
scientific
нас
activities,
приєдналися.
research activity.
Гарної
Thank you for joining us,
дивимося і дуже
and
раді за
we are
вас.
happy
І
Дякуємо
сподіваюся, що
for
наші
you.
молоді
Дякуємо.
брати
Thank you. Thank you.
приклад з такої роботи.
And we will look at
А
you
зараз у
as,
нас
at an example.
перерва. Перед
Now we
перервою я
have
попрошу нашу онлайн
a brief
журналістів включити камери, щоб ми
interval.
зробили разом з нашою
Before
командою,
that,
яка
please
є
turn
зараз в залі,
on
спільне
your
фото. Перерва у нас
videos
буде
so
приблизно
that we
20
can
хвилин,
make a
25,
photo.
буде
Our
трошки менше часу.
break
І,
will
будь
last
ласка,
till
давайте ми
12:05.
станемо тут перед екраном і
Please
зробимо фото.
come here and let's make a joint photograph.
Дякуємо, колеги. Тоді у нас перерва і 12:05
Thank
ми
you, colleagues. At 12:05, we will continue our work.
Наступна наша презентація буде стосовно саме програми Євратом, яка буде наступною на 26-27 рік. Як я раніше
Our next presentation will be
сказав,
dedicated
що
to the
насправді вона зараз формується і плани Європейської
call,
комісії оновлюються
project call for the
в
next
наступному році. Це
period
буде за це робочий весні.
2026-2027.
Але не дивлячись на це,
For Euratom,
також
this
треба
program will be
проаналізувати,
announced
що
by
програма
the
повинна
European
знаходитися
Commission.
які
And
саме
of course, we cannot be sure what will be in that, but we can analyze what's going on now, what projects are coming to the end,
що
and
можна очікувати від програми
based on that, we may
Як ви знаєте,
assume
програма
what we can
Євратом, вона
expect
складається з 3
from
частин.
the new
Це частина
program. Usually,
так званих
Euratom
rubric
program
actions, за напрямом
comprises
технологічного
three
синтезу.
parts.
І фактично за цим напрямом
The
підтримується
first
тільки три
part is
проекти.
indirect
Це проект
actions in
Eurafusion,
fusion, and
і відповідно
usually this is a
26-27 рік.
Eurofusion, big Eurofusion project, and it will be extended for the next period. Yuri Kovton will speak more on that. The next area is indirect actions in nuclear fission.
Проект по
This is a partner project on nuclear waste treatment. It will get additional funding for the new work program to come, because these works were projected by the consortium that implement this project from the very beginning. And the third area of work program will be direct actions undertaken by the Joint Research Center, and this is the project. This is ongoing and end project, which will receive additional funding for the years to come, 26, 27. And one more partner project, Piana Forta, which deals with nuclear protection. Actually, all the partner projects, these are jointly funded by European Commission and from the national budget. And all the participants, when they apply for the project, they sign up an agreement that they have this funding available. Then research and innovation, action, coordination and support action, they will be related to safe operation of nuclear power plants, advanced reactors, SMRs, and
будуть фінансувати дослідження когенераційних проєктів.
They will fund cogeneration projects.
Проєкт NN2+, який зосереджений на освіті і підтримка освіти, закінчується в 26-му році, відповідно.
Classic will expire in 2026, and we may expect that there will be new project call in educational pillar, so to say, to extend the activities which are already planned and implemented in NN+. Because as you have heard, training and preparation of youth and involvement of youth is quite important. So what I suggest to do is to look at all the projects, Europe Horizon, what is already in the pipeline, then look at the previous program 23-25. And from the topics of those projects, you will find out which projects will expire, which will continue, which will be extended, and those which will receive additional funding or further funding in the new years. So, Joint Research Center in work program 2026-2027, there will be funding to the Joint Research Center. This will be trainings, educational events, access to research infrastructure. And Joint Research Center is also participating in various project competitions of Euratom network. So actually, you should understand that considerable part of funding will be spent on Eurofusion, Eurad, pianoforte, which already are launched, and you may wish to review the events which are scheduled in the framework of those projects which I just mentioned, Eurofusion, Eurad, and pianoforte, and join those events. And alternatively, you can look at the projects which expire, and from that you may conclude which projects will be launched and or extended further. So what is the timetable? In the spring 2026, drafting of the Euratom should start, and it will be made public, then it will be adopted, and then those projects will be launched in spring 2026. With this, I would like to give the floor to my colleague, to Yuri Kovton, who chairs the fusion arm of our project. We do not see the full screen.
Так, ну, дотичною до програми «Горизонт Європи» є програма «Євратом», в котру входить...
The Euratom is a part of the Horizon Europe, and Eurofusion is a part of that. There's a joint research on thermonuclear energy sector, which are carried out jointly by Eurofusion as a part of Eurasian Horizon Europe. Here on this map, you see those countries which are part of this program, including these are European Union countries and associated countries, and also the UK and Norway. And Ukraine has its leading organization, Kharkiv Physical and Technical Institute. The major parts, major packages are tokamak operation, then commissioning and operation of GT60SA, preparation to operation of innovative tokamak ITER, interaction between plasma and the wall, or the then promotion of research in those areas, etc. Eurofusion program will expire in by the end of 2025, and it will be extended for 2026 and 2027 with maybe some amendments and changes, and the funding, of course, will be changed. What is the major things in Eurofusion? This is a road map for the nuclear, for the fusion subsector of nuclear energy. There are two big areas. This is the area of plasma, which is represented by France, Switzerland, the UK, Germany, Japan, Italy, and EC. And you can see different types of tokamaks, installations, which are available in different European countries. Then the second part of this is Eurofusion, is stellarator programs. These are the big one in Germany, Wendelstein, and smaller ones in Spain and in Ukraine. The major aspects, the major task is to develop a technology to maintain plasma and materials for the future international experimental thermonuclear reactor, which is now at the stage of construction. And both tokamaks and stellarators are just experimental sites, ground for this big objective. And you see the major countries where those experiments are carried out. So the major purpose is to produce demo projects of both stellarators, which will include all the state-of-the-art technologies. Also, we plan to develop separately the stellarator program, not as an experimental, but as a demo part. So what are the major achievements of Eurofusion? First of all, Wendelstein stellarator had showed its achievement in establishing industrial plasma, which became even powerful than the ones produced in tokamak. Then tokamak East in China produced new achievements where the plasma charge lasted for 1,066 seconds, while in France, the tokamak charge was produced during 1,337 seconds. Why these experiments are so important? Because because this is a crucial moment for implementation of tokamak as a nuclear reactor. Then further research in the GET deuterium tritium research continues. At the beginning in 1995, those experiments were done only at two tokamaks in the US and in GET. Later in 2021, 2023, the possibility to create 14 megawatt capacity with thermonuclear reactor was demonstrated. What is important? It is important to overcome technical challenges. Then the concept of national ignition facilities is being developed further. This is a compression made by lasers. Lasers are produced in result of deuterium or tritium plasma and laser. Sorry, not plasma. Laser, of course. And, in the years 2023, 2024, we had shown that the beam of energy, which was produced by laser and transferred by plasma, came powerful enough. Also, we had seen postponement in the launch of International Thermonuclear Reactor. ITER is postponed till 2035, which shows the level of difficulties that we experience here. This has our team of coordinators of Euratom branches in Ukraine. Thank you for your presentation. Maybe you have questions. Thank you. I would like to ask, what is the difference between the input and output of the thermonuclear reactor? The first experiments prove that the input and output of energy in the thermonuclear reactor, they are equal, but actually we want to get 10 times increase of input energy in the nuclear thermal reactors. Then, of course, we would like to connect them to the energy system, but actually the maximum capacity might be at the level of 500 megawatts. That are our objectives, and major is ignition of plasma, support of plasma, and within sufficient time to use it on industrial basis for years, so to say. Thank you. I suggest to move further.
Presentation, it will be from our colleague from Poland, and it's a pleasure for me to introduce NCP expert Aneta Majewska. She is a program committee and NCP expert for Euratom and Cluster 5 Climate, Energy and Mobility National Center for Research and Development from Poland. And she's graduated at the University of Warsaw and Warsaw School of Economics, post-diploma studies on project management. And since 2001, she has been working as the national contact point, actively supporting the development of European projects. From 2004 to 2006, she served as an expert in the monitoring committee for the implementation of structural funds in Poland. And in 2016, she authored an innovation-focused blog for the In Poland portal. She has participated in approximately 30 EU-funded projects, gaining extensive experience in international cooperation and innovation. Aneta, welcome. Floor is yours.
Thank you. Dobry dzień. Good morning to everyone. Thank you very much for the invitation. I would like to show you a presentation about the role of national contact point in Poland and also about, just a moment, about the landscape of Euratom in Poland. So, national contact point, what is it? So, national contact point are national structures established and financed by national governments of member states and associated countries. In Poland, the national contact point is financed by Ministry of Science and Higher Education, and it's existing since fifth framework program, so from the 90s. NCP system can vary from country to country, from highly centralized structures to decentralized network, and can involve a number of different actors, from ministries to universities and special agencies, and even to private consulting companies, like, for example, this is the case of Italy. NCP gives personalized support on the spot and in your own language. So depending on the structure of the national contact point, the type and level of services may differ from country to country, but in general, you can get a guidance on choosing relevant Euratom and Horizon Europe topics and types of actions, advice on administrative procedures and contractual issues, training and assistance on proposal writing, and also distribution of necessary documentation, and of course, help in finding appropriate countries. In Poland, we have a centralized network. Our headquarters is based in Warsaw, in the national agency. But we have also our network through the country, existing of 6 horizontal contact points, and these points give in their area help to our clients about financial issues, administrative issues, proposal writing, and finding the right topic, whereas we in the headquarters, we of course we do the same, but also we cooperate with the European Commission in the program committee and as national contact points. Our work is based on minimum standards and guiding principle for setting up system of national contact points. It's linked if you would like to get more information. In our everyday work, we get support from the Horizon Europe NCP portal. The next two links, they are this is the portal where we can find support for the everyday work, where they are interesting trainings. Also, there is Net Euratom, is an NCP network dedicated to Euratom activities. And this network also organizes trainings for participants about Euratom work program and many things like that. So this is the website if you would like to check what they are doing. This is there. What I can say, NCP is people, and this is our team. We have like 30 to 40 people working as NCP, and this NCP is our full-time job. Okay, and what can be more interesting to you? What can you expect of your NCP? So first of all, you will get help in finding a project idea and with connecting your project idea to the open call. NCP will guide you through the framework program. We'll check if your idea fits to an open call or topic. We'll tell you about political objectives and help understand the relevant background documents. And please remember that the project results are central. The proposal is not just about excellent science, but it's also about how and by whom the results will be used. And this is a very important thing, as the impact part of the proposal is very important for the European Commission. So next, during the proposal preparation phase, you can also count on the help of your NCP. NCP can help you to find project partners, also can guide you through the documents and then read your project and tell you what should be done more, what you should change to allow the project to be funded. Then during the phase of evaluation, you cannot accept our help. There is no lobbying there, as the proposals are evaluated by independent experts and marked according to the known criteria. The experts are hired by the European Commission, and during the time of evaluation, we don't know their names, so no lobbying at this stage. When you get information that your proposal will be funded, NCP can help you to prepare the right documents, to sign the grant agreement, and to solve all the legal issues which needs to be solved at this stage. During the preparation, the phase of project implementation, of course, you are doing the work within the project, but sometimes from time to time you need some help, for example, including financial reporting, and you can also count there on the NCP help. Sometimes there are also issues which needs to be solved. I mean, some problems in communication with project partners, and you can also count on our help then. NCP can help you with exploitation of your results. NCP can tell you what you can for what kind of financing you can look further when you finished your project. You can contact also Enterprise Europe network. This network helps in commercializing project results. And then the game starts again, and we will guide you through the next call for proposals and help to find the right topics for you. The next thing which you could be interested in is how Poland is in Euratom program. So we have up to now 4 calls in Euratom, and in these 4 calls, 50 projects were financed overall. And in this 50 projects, Poland has 13 projects with 2 coordinated projects and 21 participations. On the next picture, you can see who is mainly taking part. So it's not surprisingly the research organization, then higher or secondary education. Private for-profit is only 14%, and we should concentrate to get more enterprises interested in Euratom and Horizon Europe proposal. And we have also public bodies. For example, our agency, NCBR, is also taking part in Euratom projects. With which countries we mainly cooperate in Euratom projects? So it's United Kingdom, Germany, France, Czech Republic, and Belgium. When you look at the leading Polish institution in Euratom calls, so it shouldn't be surprising for you, as we do not have a power plant, nuclear power plant. We have only one research reactor, Maria. So the leading institution is National Center for Nuclear Research, based near Warsaw. Then we have University of Łódź, Institute of Nuclear Chemistry and Technology, National Research Institute, GIG, Warsaw University of Technology, and a few companies. We mainly specialized in projects connected with nuclear medicine and non-nuclear applications of nuclear technologies. Sometimes we also take part in projects connected with security. And as you know, in the work program, in the course, most of the topics are connected with power plants, nuclear power plants, so there is no much space for you, for us in this course. We also encourage Polish institutions, the Euratom leaders, to participate in other Horizon Europe projects. So here is the list of the most active ones. We have mainly projects in the wider part of the Horizon Europe, also in Marie Curie actions, so to develop a career for researchers, and also many projects concentrate on heat using in industry or in calls connected with energy. To get more information, you can read our 2 brochures. The first one is issued by us. It's Polish Success Stories in Euratom. You can, except for the information which I show you, you can find there the description of all the projects, Euratom projects, in which Polish participants take part. And the second brochure is issued by our Ministry of Economy, and it shows Polish companies which have potential to or even already work for nuclear power plants supplying different elements. Maybe you have some question for me. If not, there is my contact and our web page. It's also available in English, and I would like to thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Deta. Colleagues, you're welcome to. Do you have any questions? Sorry.
If you can answer for it. What is the present situation with exploitation of research reactor Maria in Shver now?
The research reactor is still closed because we didn't get money from ministry to its further development. But during this time, the Institute of Nuclear Research has planned the conservational works on the reactor, so we use this time to repair it, let's say.
Facility on this reactor. This reactor had three neutron facility as in the region as a diffractometer. Two diffractometer KSN2 which were made in Krakow in the former century, and how in operation these neutron diffractometers. I understand that now the reactor is stopped and neutron diffractometer, the dismantle or what is with these facilities?
Well, you are right, the reactor is now stopped. The second part of your question, I cannot answer because I don't know.
I think it's very specific questions to researchers on the reactors, maybe. And I have a question as a colleague, a question from NCP to NCP. And your experience, and you started from 2001, and what is the difference in your work as NCP in 2000s years and now? How can you describe the difference of your activities at the start of your activity and now?
I started as an NCP for small and medium-sized enterprises. In the Euratom sector, I moved in 2017. What has changed? We created an expert group to each topic. So also in Euratom area, I have sciences to work with. So when we get the work program for comments, I send it to the scientists and expect their input in these documents. And in every area of Horizon Europe, we have such working groups. It smooths the work very much, and we have taken the idea from our German colleagues. I also saw that the European Commission is organizing a lot of workshops to explain some issues, maybe not in Euratom, but in area of energy, for example. So the work is easier, I would say, now.
Thank you very much. And one more question. What is the most popular request from Polish nuclear community to Euratom NCP in Poland?
Financial issues. They have problems with financial reporting and with preparing the budget. So our financial and legal NCP is very busy every day.
Okay, thank you very much. I should say that in Ukraine, it's the same, one of the most popular requests. Thank you very much, Neta. Так, і ми продовжуємо.
And we will continue before we move to the next presenter. This will again be National Contact Point and Joint Research Center. We would like to offer you one more questionnaire. I would like to request Elena to put the questionnaire on the screen, and that's on your plans of participation in the program. The question is, do you plan to participate in the 2026-2027 work program course? Yes, we are planning. Yes, we are already working on it. We are currently just exploring the Euratom program.
Попередньо підводити якісь проміжні результати. Так, ми бачимо, що
we see that approximately 60% are planning, 12% are already working on discussing the topics, and 40% are just interested now. So please specify which directions of research are of interest for you in the development of Euratom program, and the National Contact Point could help you to direct your efforts and help you find partners. Okay. Then I'm glad to see that there's some percentage of those who are already working, and 50% practically have decided to participate. Thank you, Elena. I think we can close this questionnaire and we'll proceed with our next speaker. And this is the coordinator of the NCP, Joint Research Center, Любомир Некеруй, who's the professor of Prikарpаття National University, now with Karpatsky National University, named after Vasil Stefanik. He is the professor of the chair, has PhD, he has the award from the Ministry of Education and Science, and is the best inventor of Ivano-Frankivsk region. Thank you. You made me such an advertisement, and now I have to try to speak at this standard. And thank you for your trust. As Sergey mentioned, I represent the Joint Research Center and the National Contact Point. Can you see me? Can you hear me well? Yes, yes, absolutely. We can hear you, we see the presentation. because I started talking, but I don't know whether everything is fine. I will try to not to bore you with what has nothing to do with your activities, and I selected something which would be of interest for you. What could researchers get, especially those who are working on topics close to Euratom? Here the slide shows that a joint research center in the Steam Horizon Europe is present in two places. And this is the access to up-to-date equipment where you can conduct some experiments, and this could be the access to both nuclear and non-nuclear equipment. To the right you see Euratom, and in the second it's non-nuclear. And everything started from Euratom, because first laboratories were set up in Ispra based on the NPP, which was closed, but the reactor is still used for research purposes, and that the program was created, the number of laboratories was increased, and they started working in different directions, and that is why there are nuclear and non-nuclear programs. And I will show you how it could be of interest for you. The Joint Research Center doesn't make calls and does not participate in them. These are separate laboratories of different countries, and based on them you can start researching something or testing something. But when you supply application, you can indicate that some work, some tests, some research will be implemented on in one of the laboratories of JRC. And sometimes if you read the work program in the detail, you could see that it says that the school supports research on the basis of JRC. You need to indicate where and what you are planning to do, and they will pay for that. They will pay for your staying there, and they will conduct your research. You will be able to conduct your research free of charge. Well, they worked already during the previous year. You see different directions. I will leave this presentation for you, and I will not analyze every slide. Then later you can look at it in detail, but everyone who's interested in this program could find interesting education. The JRC gives access to our researchers and scientists to the programs of EU. Here I have links to work, and you get access to different laboratories where you can read the programs. Every day I update it because this information at the Joint Research Center is updated all the time. About a month ago, the work program for 25-28 was passed, and now they put this information on the website, and every day approximately there's something new there, and I checked whether all the information is correct and updated. They provide their laboratories for research, they provide their laboratories and center for training, and the laboratories of the Joint Research Center, they organize different courses, conferences. That's all for money, but for 20, 30, 40 participants, they do have money, and those who apply get their travels paid for. the attendance paid for. And the request is sent, the committee approves it, and then financial support for participation is provided. Sometimes this covers travel and accommodation and also organizational fee, which sometimes could be 800, 900 euros, which is also very good, because this could be additional source of funding.
Ще один з напрямків – це допомога молодим дослідникам, які пишуть свої кандидатські дисертації.
And one more area is an assistance to those researchers who are at this stage of writing their PhDs. Actually, you may apply for financial support for your stay in one of those foreign labs. And during your stay in one of those labs or research centers, you will be paid a stipend. Then we have 6 centers in European countries, in Brussels, Germany, Italy, Spain. Quite recently, we had seen a presentation of new working program, which contains these priorities and 25 new GRC portfolios. And there's this red area shows, I think, those which are the top priority interest for Ukrainian researchers. For example, energy solutions. And I made small slides which describe in more details. And now I would like to go into this website. Can you see my screen? And here, clicking these links, you can find the list of projects and activities, which are the projects which are now in the pipeline. You can find databases, materials, nuclear reactors, databases, results, and you can take something for your research. Then you have lists of laboratories, and you may go into this laboratory, to each specific laboratory, and find out what they are doing. You can find out the instruments that they use, their methods of research, and you may find out whether this lab feeds your requirements. And actually, these are quite simple application forms which you may fill in, apply, and they are reviewed very quickly. This can take up to 10 days, and you may apply then for funding and get it. And within actually 2-3 weeks, you may even go there. Let's try, for example, this one. Here. Previous open access calls and can be visited here. So you can find the history, what they funded, what visits they funded. Some laboratories provide immediate links and clear guidelines how to fill the application. Now I go back to the presentation.
Тобто це я вів до того, що
So what I want to say that all the links which are in my presentation, you may follow them and find out what is offered, what is available. They can be quite useful. And actually, they are all in Ukrainian, but you may apply Google Translate or whatever.
Nuclear safeguards, а потім nuclear safety and skills.
Nuclear safeguards and nuclear safety and skills. These are the links which we are exploring now. You may go this to nuclear safety and skills and find even more laboratories under this link. And you may find what is interesting to you. You can find out about the research instruments. You can find the database of the previous research. And actually, you can find out the outcomes from previous year projects from many years in the past. Actually, data are open and you can use all those data in your research. For example, we can follow the small modular reactors website. For example, a piece of news, May 21st, 2021, DRC launches new model and center for nuclear applications, and maybe you will find out that this is interesting for you. Then there is a list of laboratories and those which offer open access. You can select the keywords.
Я вже вам говорив, що напрямків є в них дуже багато. І оці 13 лабораторій з короткою інструкцією і з лінками на кожну з них
you have links to each of these laboratories. I will provide you with a review what you can find in those laboratories. You may try to connect those labs directly. In each
на сайті об'єднаного дослідницького центру є кнопочка подати аплікаційну форму.
Each laboratory allows you to apply directly to it. Why this is important? Because I was impressed with the statistics in the programs from 26-27. Ukraine submitted only 2 applications during the last year, while in the EU, dozens of applications were submitted, and they were funded. Perhaps Ukrainian researchers, they do not know that this opportunity exists and underemploy this opportunity, do not use it fully.
Що ж можу вам таке показати? От одна з них, якщо клікнути назад.
For example, when you click on this Euratom lab,
детальніше розписано, що в них є.
And then it shows clearly what do they hope, what do they have in general, what do they offer, and how you can apply.
Так, і внизу бачите сам низ даного слайду, як подати.
And when we go to the bottom to apply now via the offer platform, and you may click that to find out. This is one of the projects which expired, and you go down to the work program. it says involving the European Commission's Joint Research Center is an advantage.
Розширити інформацію, то в цій розширеній інформації ось таке десь могло бути вказано. І якщо хтось це не дочитає і не врахує, то скажуть, ну, люди не враховують можливості, які їм надаються.
I encourage you to read carefully what is written and when the GRC is mentioned.
Кошти запланувати на щось інше, а ці кошти, які ви б мали тратити за рахунок проекту,
I'm saying that you may raise money for your projects via GRC. These are assessment criteria for your applications. I won't describe it in much detail. And as each contact point, we have our online consultations. You may write email to me, and we will appoint a meeting and receive individual consultation. By the end of May, we had been accepting applications for 5 months stay in autumn months of and in the autumn, in the fall, we will open a call for applications for your internship and research stay for the next spring of 2026. So if you are interested, please contact me and I will provide you with a piece of advice. Thank you, Lubomir. We will disseminate his presentation, and you have an opportunity to ask questions. Only I would like to draw your attention to our offer project, that is Euratom project, which allows you to make a good use of European infrastructure. It opens possibility for mobility across the European nuclear infrastructure, and this could be done via GRC or infrastructure or Euratom infrastructure. This was just a comment. Once I wanted to measure my sample in a lab of low values, low value measurements, and my application was denied, and when later I eventually got a possibility to went to that lab, they have explained to me that first you need to find the contact person to indicate in your application. So you have to decide not only what you want to do in the European lab, but you need to find a person, a contact in that lab whom you will indicate in your application. Thank you, Lubomir. And now let's continue.
Так, добре, ми продовжуємо. Наступна тема у нас є
Let's continue. Next item of our agenda is the application of AI And we have a pleasure to welcome our guest from Norway.
Professor Istvan Shoke, to present information about application of artificial intelligence, but unfortunately he is very busy now, and he provided us a colleague from his laboratory, and it's a pleasure to me to introduce Mr. Omar Zahra, and you are welcome, and please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So it's a pleasure to be presenting this on behalf of Istvan Tsuke, my head of department. So my name is Omar Zahra, and I'm a research scientist at Institute for Energy Technology in Norway. So maybe you know about IFE, or Institute of Energy Technology. So we work with nuclear since 1960 and even before, and we have also activities in other sectors of energy. We have two main sectors, one in Halden and the other one is in Schiller. We have been searching and always like in the frontier of state of the art. So we have been researching in terms of nuclear, how AI and robotics can be used in such a domain to be able to fulfill different tasks to improve the efficiency, security, and safety and other measures. So this is like one of the demos that you can see where you have this kind of visualization of the activity in Fukushima site that was done in collaboration between IFE and Kirgatek. So basically you have here gamma scanners which go on site and do scans and do as well 3D scans, not only for the radiation. And then with overlaying such information, you can have such a visualization which can be useful in many aspects. But to be able to come to this point, especially if you have fields with high radiation, then there are different tools that you can be using here and employing to come to this conclusion. So the question is why robotics and AI for nuclear? So this is basically comes as natural solution when it comes to reduction of exposure of operators and workers on site, because you can have like the robots acting there using AI can reduce the time extensively of what is needed to be doing on site. Can be used for sorting and segregation of nuclear waste. So you can have the robots and AI picking up some data using different sensors and treating this data in a very fast manner. And then you can reach to a conclusion and to be able to detect the amount of activity coming out from the waste. And then you can do the segregation and sorting process. You can also have these robots, as you see, for example, these continuum robots going through a very small entrance areas into some places where you want to do some cutting, dismantling, and so on. And then you can have these technologies acting together to be able to do different operations with many restrictions like space and time restrictions. You can use this on also for maintenance and inspection. So even for an operating site, it can be there all the time running and doing 24/7 inspections to be able to optimize the process. This, of course, leads to an operational efficiency and cost reduction. So you can have a very wide database of each and every single item in your site, and then you can start to do some optimization process of how you can get rid of this waste and about different routes for the disposal of such wastes. So again, like, okay, so how this like really happens, you can have these different technologies. You see the robot, for example, running on site to be able to do scans. It can, for example, you have this spot, which is a quadruped robot. It can go up and down the stairs. It can fit in almost every place where a human can go inside and fit, and then it can do the inspections. So it's a mobile sensing platform. You put different sensors, can be radiation sensors, it can be a camera, a LiDAR, whatever you want to place on this robot within the payload limit, and then it can go up and down and collect all the data that you need and have an update of all the information. On the left, you see, for example, how the camera picks an image, and just like humans, we start to understand there are different items in this image. And then with this kind of near real-time processing, you can have now with AI different packages which allow you to segregate, to separate and segment every item in this picture. So you can see clearly that it separates a human from the pipes, from all the items which you can see around here. And this is what we look for in the AI, to be able to understand almost the same as what a human understands, and then it can take the decisions accordingly. And specifically for this reason, we have the Hadron Lab in IFA, which is based, which is hazard-aware digitalization and robotics in nuclear and other domains. So we have different here tools that can fit nicely together. You have the 3D hazard modeling, so you have all the physics that you understand, and there was like extensive literature among what we found in terms of like modeling the hazards and the radiation in an environment, coupled with 3D digitalization. So you have the VR and different other tools to be able to digitalize such a process and make it easier to access even from remote places. And then you have the robots. So the robot closes such loop nicely, because in many cases you want to collect more information, and this where you cannot really send a human or take an immediate action unless you have some tool which can go on site in almost every place where a human can go. You equip with different sensors. Sometimes you equip with different manipulators to be able to take action, not only to observe the environment, and then this can feed in the loop. Also, when you have a better 3D hazard modeling, this also helps that you be able to manipulate and direct the robot to be able to navigate in this environment more efficiently. So this is the coupling that we are looking for in such environment. So you have the digitalization, which is the process of having this kind of integrated modular multi-purpose ecosystems. This I will be coming to explain more in the next slides. So we would like to see like this kind of holistic life cycle perspective. So it doesn't only include the operation or the decommissioning, but have the whole life cycle of the facility. You can have different ways to represent the 3D model. You can have the BIM, which also like allow you to integrate more of like the metadata and be able to store and inform more about each item in your plant. Again, this is coupled with the robots, which is able to collect more information. It can have a natural telepresence, so you can be able to see what the robots see and interact with the environment. So there are different modes for operation of the robot. It can be teleoperated, so you can control it from a remote place. You can remotely operate it while it's in the line of sight, but you can also have it operating in an autonomous or semi-autonomous way to be able to have like a smarter inspection 24/7 without the intervention of human. Of course, all of this comes with different restrictions based on the operation needs and on the nature of the site. So how this is working in the Hadron is basically that you find a central AI-powered digital platform. So we all know that AI needs a lot of data to be able to operate, and this is how you integrate different things. So you can have data which is coming from 3D models, but then you can also complement this with data which is coming from robots to make sure that you have this kind of concept of digital twin, which is live. You don't only do the modeling and then it can get outdated or something happens out of expected, but you also have the robot to do regular inspections and make sure that your estimations and calculations are correct. You connect this to other things like the safety requirements. So you can have different regulations regarding the operation of the site. And this is where it would be nice that you have some kind of safety requirements to be able to check all the time about the operation and it's going as expected. Or you can raise different alerts. Okay, something is not happening as expected. And this is where the human intervention is needed. To be able to have such ecosystem, there are like different blocks which are integrated together, and it's modular in a way which accepts input from other collaborators and other partners. For example, like I showed in the first one, you could see that you have, for example, input from radiological scanners from Creatic. You have the BIM model from our collaborator here in Norway, Catenda, or in Gesed from Spain, and then you have all of these working together. Then it fits and feeds some some models which was implemented and developed here by IFA for radiation characterization, for simulating things in 3D models, and making sure that you do a proper work planning. You can have in this model, maybe you know about our VRDOS tool, which allows to put different shields and update the environment so that you can see what is the best way and the best route for the operator to go inside and have the minimum dose radio exposure during doing some operation. You can also have training and insight info. So such interaction and such modeling allows you to also like do some training before going on site. Then this is also can be connected to different like risk management tools. So these tools allow you to map the region and say, okay, like in this place, I had this kind of hazard, and these are the mitigation actions in a very systematic manner, which makes it very easy to interact with different people on site and see how this can be done in the most efficient way. So you can see such workflow is not only like one tool, and it is not only developed by IFA, but we always seek to have a modular concept and modular operation where we can integrate different tools and still have no compatibility issues. One of these examples on such projects which are running now under the Euratom project is two projects, Accessibility and Rado. These are like twin projects that have been running from 2024 and shall be running till 2027, which is exactly about this concept of having robots mounting different radiation sensors, alpha, beta, and gamma sensors, acting together in a multi-robot coordination. So one robot can sometimes be inefficient. Maybe in some cases you want to cover the whole site in a specific time duration, and this is where you can and you need to have multi-robot coordination. So you instruct different robots to be acting in parallel without having any confusion or like a miscommunication in between. And this is one of the tasks which is done under accessibility. And then the information and the data which is coming from these robots is fed into the digital system where you have the digital twin, which is reflecting the current state of the facility and can even do predictions to be able to see what is the best way to do this. This is done also like for the decommissioning environment. So this means you expect that the environment itself is changing from one day to another. And it's good like for every day when you have a meeting by the beginning that you have an updated scan of the facility so that you can have a better work plan and prepare all the pre work permits and such things. So, for example, in Radu, we look so much onto the ontology. So, because by the end of the day, you have here a machine, and this machine shall be understanding as much as possible how the human acts. And also, it's good even for human-human interaction, because we can have different terminology. Sometimes the project can be an international project with people having different aspects about how the safety, the tasks, and things on site. So in this project, we were extending one of the ontologies, which is specifically for nuclear decommissioning, to make sure that the terms which are used are accurate and are fitting to complete the tasks and to put the right tag on each document which is attached. So the point here is to develop a server which is able to contain all the data for the decommissioning in a very structured manner so that you can find every piece of data that you need easily. It integrates data from different modalities. So this means we have LiDARs, thermal cameras, RGBD cameras, and all of these sensors were picked based on responses and feedback from different stakeholders on what is most needed in the decommissioning environment and what are the highest risks that we need to monitor all the time. And of course, this is done in a very secure manner with local servers in part of the design to make sure that all the restrictions for the nuclear environment are taken into consideration. So like I said, the ontology is like the glue which attaches between the different tools which are operating to make sure that all the data is routed properly from one module to another without any compatibility issues, or even without the human misinterpreting what is this type of data and what it is used for. Part of the mission is also to do change detections. So this is part of how AI can be helping, is that you do one scan for the facility today, and then you do another scan on the second day, and then you can see in the red part the missing build elements. So this means the updates that happened from one day to another can be highlighted so that you can see, okay, so this is basically the operation from yesterday to today, and this is expected or not expected, and this will help you to take a decision how you shall continue working. This is also like one of the predecessors for like accessibility, which was about developing different modules and different packages to be mounted on robots to do the scan. And this was extended basically in accessibility, which as I explained it, to have different robots equipped with different sensors, alpha, beta, gamma, which is developed by different partners under the lead of CEA. And then we use this data to build this to feed the information into Dorado to complete the digital twin. So as you see, like we have here highlighted some of the concepts and technologies that we think are quite necessary while doing operations. One is like modularity. Second one is really you need to do a proper mapping of the environment so that you can attach different risks. This is where AI can be quite helpful. You have the teleoperation, the manipulation, and the real-time simulation, which can be quite needed and sometimes at least reporting for the most emanating hazards. So I know I'm a bit running like in time. So here I have like one example of modularity, which was one of the projects that we has been running, which is basically how one sensor package can fit onto other robot and still complete the tasks. So you can see here, for example, one of these, some of these robots, which is basically designed to be able to reach to the ceiling by using this manipulator. It can do drilling, scanning, and different tasks. You can also like have different robots, which is smaller, still have the robot arm, but more suitable to go into more compact areas and to be able to do swab tests and other scans and things that you need to do on site. You have robots like Spot, which is able to do scan and carry different sensors on site. For mapping, you can see this is like one of the examples. You have the robots running and doing what we call the SLAM algorithm, which is simultaneous localization and mapping. So this means the robot can go inside an environment that doesn't have any information about the environment or the map, and then it go and do the localization to understand where it lies, while at the same time it's forming a map for the environment. So the robot can be equipped with different sensors. You can see here, for example, a Compton camera, which is quite small in size and still do the scans and collect information about the environment while forming a map, as you see in the lower left image. Another example here is like teleoperation, and you can design this so that the camera can be mounted on this end, and you see it's just mimicking the motion of the head. And this means you can have the operator looking at whatever like the camera sees. So this is like just a real-time telepresence. So the operator can see what the robot see and interact with the environment in a very natural and fluidic manner. And not only monitor the environment, but also interact. It can move like a manipulator and take and do different tasks. We have tried this with building pyramid blocks here, like which was also like for people who didn't try this system before, and they could adapt in a very short time. So these are also things which are subject to optimization process. You have the manipulation, like I expressed before, and it can be quite complex compared to what a human can do in a very natural manner. And this is basically because we know where our eyes lie in respect to our hands, which is not so common for robots, and it needs a dedicated training process. And also this process of what we call graspability. So the robot needs to understand as well if it can grasp and carry this object, or this is some complicated task for the robot. And just to conclude this, I will show an example of an automatic grasping process. So here you can see the robot arm is moving, and then it carries a camera. And this is basically where the AI comes in. So we ask the robot to pick up a certain object, and this is just by writing a line, giving just a prompt. and then you can see the robot state is just reflected in real time. This is digital twin of the robot. So whatever the robot is doing, you can see in real time, and the robot can see a cup. I say pick a cup, and then it just picks a cup from this image, and it understands, okay, I will see what is the best way to carry it. And then it starts to generate different ways to carry the cup. So all of these are possible ways to grasp the cup. And then finally it decides, okay, I now understand what is the best way based on different metrics that we use for training. And then it decides that this is the best way to pick up the cup. And then the robot starts to display the point cloud, or what the robot will be seeing, using this RGBD camera. So this camera has an additional information, not just 2D, but also understand the depth. And then it starts to execute the process. And you see in all of these process, it doesn't jump from one step to the other step unless I really say, okay, you can proceed to the next step. So this is some kind of semi-autonomous control where I have to be in charge of each step and always have the possibility to stop the operation. These robots are also called cobots or collaborative robots. So these robots have the option to understand the interaction with the environment. So whenever it finds that it exceeds a certain amount of effort, or like exerting an additional effort, then it will stop immediately to not harm the environment and to not harm the users and possibly humans who can be close to the robot. This all fits under the concept of Industry 4.0. And this is where we use these robots. So like I said, all of this, and also with real-time simulation, supported by tools like we find in the robotics community, or like VRDOS, which we have built in here in IFE. So all of these tools, which really enable us to have different modules related to robotics and related to AI that can operate in a harmonious way and conduct different tasks on site. That's all, and thank you for your attention. And please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you very much, Omar, for your amazing presentation. And are there any questions?
Again, thanks very much for this very interesting presentation. And I would like to ask you whether it would be possible for this robotic system to be adapted to repair something.
Yeah, definitely. So, as you know, like AI is basically data hungry somehow. So this means if we have a specific data set about what you really want to repair, then we introduce such information to the robot and it starts to learn and understand more its environment. So this means whatever you want to repair, you provide some training data, and then the robot can mimic or like do the operation either in an algorithmic way in a fixed steps, or it can do it in a more like imitation way where you can provide different data from people doing the same process of repairing, and then the robot just imitates what the operator does and starts to do the same reparation process. Sorry. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? One more.
Maybe I will ask, what about radiation hardness of the robot parts, and how you want to handle the radioactive parts of robot?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So this is like differs from one type to another. So it depends quite on what type of task you are carrying on and what you are using the robot for. So basically robots can operate, even the off-the-shelf robots not designed for radiation. For example, you have a spot from Boston Dynamics, it can take up to 413 rem, which is equivalent to almost 4.13 sievert. So this can be quite a bit of a value. So it is not like 4.13 sievert per hour, but 4.13 sievert. But this amount of radiation can be quite devastating for a human, but for a robot, if we can sacrifice the robot to collect some important information, this can be one option. The other option is we find and study the most critical components of the robot, which are really prone to radiation, and then we start to be able to design some shielding for these ones in a compact manner to be able to complete the task. Some robots are designed to be radiation hardened, but this, of course, this is like way more expensive. So it just really varies so much depending on what you are doing and what is the task that the robot is expected to do.
Yeah, quite interesting. Thanks.
Thank you.
And my question, what do you think, what is the main obstacles to deployment of this technology to the real world? I mean, maybe technological legislation, security, what kind of obstacles are the main?
Yep. Yeah. So we have been also like conducting recently some surveys under the Harper's project, which is also one of the Euratom projects, and it just came to an end during this month. And then the conclusion was regarding such tools like robotics and digital twins. The biggest obstacles is basically the first of a kind to be like the first of a kind to be implementing some of these technological tools. So we find like very few examples about how this is really implemented. And this is why we are included also in different work groups under the EGRS, under ZENIA, and under like ISOP network, under the IEA. And these groups basically start to really address such gap to make sure that we have sufficient good examples from both industry and from research and how we can bridge things which are basically at this transition TRL from 5 to 7. This is where really like many good research ideas cannot jump such gap and come to an end. The other part, it can be, I believe, a support from regulators as well to have more investigations into such tools and to try to make some kind of incentives. Because like if we really want to satisfy the Alara concept, then I believe this is one of the good examples of how robots can improve and enhance such security and be able to replace the workers in some of the very hazardous or non-necessary interventions.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any other questions? Okay, let's say thank you once again, and thank you for joining us and for your very interesting presentation.
Thank you for your time.
Добре, ми продовжуємо.
Okay, we will continue. And now we will have another questionnaire. Olena, please put our questionnaire on the screen, and that's on our experience of work with AI. And that is interesting to find out whether we know this topic and how deeply we know that. Do you conduct research in the fields of fission and fusion using AI? And the answers. The question is, do you conduct research in the fields of fission and fusion using artificial intellect? Yes, we do know. We don't know, but we are planning to know because we are not well familiar with this area. No, due to lack of resources. No, due to lack of experience.
Дійсно бачимо, що
We do see
поки в нас не
that
багато досвіду.
we don't have a lot of experience working with the AI. We have 11% of those who, yes, conduct. And the logical question to those who answered yes, could you tell us how you are working with the AI? And the next question, in which fields do you conduct research involving AI? This is the question to those who answered yes. Could you please share, could you please scan it and write your experience? What's your experience in using AI?
Так, ну добре, поки,
Okay.
поки ми не бачимо відповіді, але
We
це
don't see the answer yet, but again, it means that we are not very well integrated into this sector, and we probably need to make some additional steps to get deeper into this topic, because we understand the further this topic is developed, okay. The general opinion is that what we lack is security. And I would like to say thank you, Elena. And one more question, and that's on the topics of our seminars. That's the last question. In NURECAB, we conducted this seminar. We invited the European colleague who heads one of the technological groups as to this seminar, and we would like to continue this practice. We would like to organize these seminars, and we would like to ask you which of the topics would be of interest for you. Where are you looking for partners? Which topics? And this could be a chance to learn about the activity of our European colleagues.
Колеги, так, прошу голосувати, хто має якісь побажання з цього приводу.
Those who have some ideas.
У нас була запланована ще
And we planned to listen to one more presentation from Alexander Ivashchenko, who's the person from Medical Center Groningen. She failed to join us. I see that many wrote artificial intellect. We'll organize a special seminar on this topic. Today we were looking at the topic of robots used at the NPPs for our needs in nuclear sector, but there are many other examples of using different databases, and I believe that we need to learn more about these directions of work, and we see that there's SMR, decommissioning, nuclear medicine. We will be we will have a lot of work and we'll suggest some new topics for the seminars. On that, we will finish. If you have questions, you're welcome to ask them. If not, then I would like to thank you all for participation. Thank you for attention. Thank you, the speakers, for your presentations. And I hope that the next program of 2026-27 will have more participants and we will become even stronger. We grow from the point of view of participation of Ukraine in Euratom programs. We have exceeded the indicators we had in the last program, and the program, new program 26-27 will show our research. Have a good, safe day, good week, and glory to Ukraine and victory to all of us.